Isaiah, the prophet of God, who has already worked in the role of prophet, having received a vision from God. Have you received one? According to chapter 1, in the reign of Uzziah, he stands in the throne room of one who sent a vision. The throne room of God is where we all need to be standing, in the throne room of God. There he sees the back of a robe, which is the Lord's robe, the back of a robe, because you can't see his face. He said, you can't see my face. Imagine that, standing in the presence of God. And he's not looking at you, but he's got his back turned. All you see is the train, his robe, the train is so large that it fills the temple. Imagine it in here. Put on the visionary eyes. His train, his garment is so long that it has filled the temple, and the angels are flying around the throne proclaiming, holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of his glory. Can you see it? Full of his glory, not your glory, but his glory. Loud enough, their voices were so strong, it shook the temple, and smoke filled the room. Have you ever had an experience like that, to where smoke just filled the room? Holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. Holy. Some of us need to be saying those things in the midst of our prayers. If that's all you is, get on your knees and say, and lay on your face and say, holy, holy. And I promise you, if you keep saying it, you will have a visitation from the Lord. He will come and visit you. John did in the book of Revelation in chapter 1. And this is history records. Others who have had similar experience of God. But if you remember, there was a preacher named Smith Wigglesworth. He was an amazing minister in Wellington in New Zealand. He called for a special prayer meeting one day with a group of 11 leaders. After each one had prayed, Wigglesworth rose to seek the Lord, and the presence of God began to fill that room. The light from God's glory became extremely bright, and the heat in the room intense, so much so the other men could not take it any longer. And each one of them left the room, all except Wigglesworth, who was able to continue in the midst of the Shekinah glory. It's something about God's glory. Will you stay when he shows up? Will you remain when he shows up? Will you remain prostrate before him when he shows up? Will you stay there? And will you listen to what he's got to say? And when he tell you, child, but I'm going to take care of you, will you listen, or will you get mad at him? What you going to do when he shows up on your porch step? How are you going to react? I remember in my days, I have seen the midst of that glory, sitting in my own apartment one day, communing with the Lord. Wanted all these things. I wanted to see the glory of God. And this was before I was even baptized. Oh, the Lord showed me the vision of everything, where I was going to get baptized at and everything. Then all of a sudden, I was locked in a trance. I couldn't move. When I woke up, I was on my knees in front of my sofa. And the Lord said, go look in the mirror. What a heavenly change. The bright lights, the aura. It is something about being in the presence of God and when you commune with him. And the same God that did that for me, he also would do it for you if you want it. He'll do it for every one of us. It's just how bad you want it. Is your murmuring and complaining better than God's healings? Come on, you see what I mean? It seems like we want more of the world than we want of God. It seems like the world is so excited, but we don't think about all the lives we hurt in this world. Instead of being a blessing to folks, we end up being a curse. Oh, come on now, somebody.